The entertainment talking sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video, and in this video I'm going to talk about pending free agent Joe Schobert. A article came out about him actually early, I think it was yesterday. Didn't have a chance to post it being that I was calling the game, but want to get a video up on this. This is one of the bigger named middle linebackers in free agency this year, and it seems as if the Cleveland Browns are willing to let him hit the open market, and they will not use the franchise tag to keep him on their roster. Middle linebacker has been a position that the New York Giants have not had really since Antonio Pierce, and it's something that we've really called for. Jerry Reese consistently neglected it in the draft and in free agency. We, of course, Dave Gettleman tried to address it by trading for Alec Ogletree. Alec Ogletree has been underwhelming, has not performed as well as we would have liked, and I expect the New York Giants to move on and replace him. Now, whether or not they will replace him with guys on the roster like Ryan Conley, who will be coming back from an injury, remains to be seen. David Mayo, guys like that. Or they could go out there and get an established player, being that they will have some cap space in Joe Schobert to man the middle. Some of the obstacles I see: Joe Schobert plays for the Cleveland Browns. They run a 4-3 defense. Whether or not the New York Giants, if they stay with the 3-4, would think he could translate would be a question, right? They could go out there and get a Littleton who plays in the 3-4. So a lot of this is dependent on what system they play in. But if the Giants were to switch to the 4-3, Schobert could make a ton of sense. He's a former Pro Bowler in 2017, in which he led the league in tackles. This year he ranks 10th in tackles. And he's a good coverage linebacker from everything you read. And I will get into some of the quotes and some of the notes about his skill set with the Cleveland Browns. He's a former early 4th-round pick, and to this point in his career has not made a ton of money, being that he was a 4th-round pick on a rookie contract. He will look to strike it big in free agency, and I would think somebody will pay him. He's remained relatively healthy throughout his career. I think he's only missed 3 games through his first 4 years in the NFL. So we'll see if the Giants think that he is a guy that is worth big-time money to man that position for them going forward. We'll have to wait and see. But let's jump into some of the notes about Schobert, and here's the first one. Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com reported on Saturday that Browns are willing to let him walk in free agency. The team has not made it a priority to keep contract negotiations ongoing or really going at all with Schobert, who was selected with the 99th overall pick in the 2016 draft. The Wisconsin product is on the last year of his rookie deal and will become an unrestricted free agent after this season. So he will hit the open market by all accounts. Whether or not the New York Giants will be in play, we'll have to wait and see. And this is some of the notes about his play with the Cleveland Browns. The Browns' biggest strength of their linebacker position is Joe Schobert. Schobert is the X factor for the defense. When he is in the game, the defense is better for it. As a player, he is a really talented cover linebacker with the ability to cover in zone and man coverage. His athleticism not only helps him in coverage, but also in pursuit of the ball carrier. He quickly diagnoses plays and reacts to make the plays. He is the leader of the linebacker unit, while also being one of the leaders on the field for the defense. He is the most reliable and talented linebacker in the positional group. That was somebody talking about, breaking down the Cleveland Browns roster at the beginning of the season. And then this is something I wanted to go over: the salaries of some of the highest paid middle linebackers in the sport. Bobby Wagner, at 29 years of age, made an absorbent amount of money, an average of $18 million a year. C.J. Mosley for the Jets made $17, and Miles Jack is the third highest at $14.25. So I think if you're signing a Schobert, you're looking at least $15 million a year. A guy that's only going to be 27 next year, who has, had some of the success that he has had in this league. The question is, if they stay in a 4-3, I personally don't see it. I think he's obviously a 3-4, I should say. I personally don't see it. I think he's more of a 4-3 linebacker. But if they made the shift to the 4-3, do they think a veteran presence like a Schobert would make a lot of sense to put in the middle? Like I said, we have not had a good middle linebacker in forever, and I think a lot of it would come down to, do they think the guys on their roster could fill that void? If they don't, Schobert could make a ton of sense on the free agency market and could be a potential target for the New York Giants, seeing that the Cleveland Browns seemingly have already accepted that they are going to move on from him at the position. We're going to have to wait and see. I like Schobert for a reasonable price, but if we stay in the 3-4, I don't see it. I see them going after a guy like Littleton if they plan on addressing that in free agency, or potentially drafting one. They could, of course, draft a middle linebacker in the draft as well, We'll have to see what the approach is, but the Giants certainly could use some veterans back there, and they do have some cap space to spend. The question is, will they spend it on players like this? Will they address the offensive line? Will they get an edge rusher? They could add a couple of players. They're going to have at least $65, $70 million, depending on what they do with Leonard Williams. But yeah, I just want to get a quick video up on that. It seems like Schobert will be available for anybody that may be interested in him as a middle linebacker for the New York Giants. I'm sure he'll be a guy that is widely talked about throughout the league. As always, if you liked what you watch, please subscribe, drop a comment, maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.